Well, hi again, everyone. It's Rob Ryder. Hey, I didn't put the date on here. It's unusual. It is November 15th, 2024. And today, VA Secretary Collins, what is your fee for my veteran ID? Specifically, sir, the ID that's in Title 38, United States Code, Section 5706, which plainly says that you, as the secretary, are going to charge me, as the veteran, a fee for this particular ID card. So it's not the ID card that you can get when you go to VHA, because they give you that for free. And it's not the one you can get online, because you can get that one for free. Although they try to make it sound like it's that card, the law plainly states that you have to charge me a fee. So I'm not getting the service that I require, and I want to get in line and point that out early. And maybe we can fix that, because by fixing that one little thing, sir, by you charging a fee, veterans getting their ID card, we will take the knot out of the line that goes between our service in the military and today, because we're still technically enlisted. We've never been released. We're in the military. And so anyways, more of that when we get there. If you didn't know, I am Ritluski Robert Allen, DOD ID 12112800006. You can look me up in the book, sir. Also known as Rob Ryder. Email address, courtofrecord@AOL.com. And you can find my videos on Rob Ryder on YouTube with ROBBBRYDER or Rumble with 2 B's. And I've sent a few out to Elon Musk here recently, so if you have some free time, you may want to watch those, sir. But let's get into why we're here with you. Give me just 1 second. Anyways, for the rest of us, though, before we begin, well, who the heck is Doug Collins? Well, Douglas Allen Collins, his full legal name, not Doug Collins, it's Douglas Allen. I bet you Douglas Allen Collins is the name on his state driver's license. Is an American lawyer. We'll find out soon enough. And retired politician who served U.S. Representative, 9th Congressional District. Well, that's good. And had I not gone down and actually skimmed through it, I would have missed the most important part, which was your service in the military. And that was that in the late 80s, Collins served 2 years in the United States Navy as a Navy chaplain. Good for you, sir. After the September 11th attacks, Collins joined the United States Air Force Reserve Command, where he presently serves as a chaplain, Lieutenant Colonel. Outstanding, sir. You're a commissioned officer. Also, and a chaplain. Chaplains got special power. Chaplains have a board in the military. It's called the Armed Forces Chaplains Board. It has 5 generals sitting on it. 5 general chaplains, which is a lot of power. You can say, well, there's a court martial. There's a general court martial panel. If they would ever use the power, maybe you can talk to them, sir. Okay, well, I feel that makes me feel better, because when I first saw you're a lawyer, I was like, well, sir, you're really not a lawyer. I don't believe you've taken the oath of office that you need to be who you say you'd like to be. So I did a little digging, right? I went to the State Bar of Georgia website and looked up, well, there's Douglas Allen Collins. Now, is that how you would sign your name on documents, or it would show up in the signature block on a court document? I don't believe so. Douglas Allen Collins, I bet you put Douglas A. Collins, which isn't the name that was, registered to practice under. But anyways, there it is. It says you're in good standing and so forth and so on. And because I'm always interested in, well, did you actually do the things you need to do to be an attorney? And in Georgia, you had to have executed this oath as part of your admission to practice. So as I pointed out in my recent videos, right, you can be eligible to practice, but not admitted to practice. And the difference is, to be eligible to practice means that you're willing to take the oath, but you're not admitted until you have taken the oath. And that's kind of a deal down there in Texas, because every attorney's on the Texas Bar website shows that they're eligible to practice, but not admitted. So anyways, that order talked about this Supreme Court of Georgia, rules governing admissions and practice of law. So if you have a court case going on in Georgia right now, this is just anybody in Georgia, you may want to go download this to find out if that prosecutor or whoever your adversary's attorney has followed this. Or if they're trying to appoint one to you. Well, I want one who's, took the oath of office. So let's get to that part real quick. So skipping ahead to the meat and taters, here in section 14, it talks about these certificates of eligibility for admission to the practice of law. Not that you'll no longer be, or that you're eligible, but now you need to take an oath to be admitted. Upon the applicant's pass and bar exam, provided that his or her certificate of fitness to practice law is current and educational testing, so forth and so on. Certificates may be in such form as the board. I probably skipped the part I really wanted to read. Shall issue a certification of eligibility for admission to practice of law to the applicant. So a certification eligibility for admission. So they're eligible to be admitted to practice law. But they're not yet. They just are eligible to be. And it says what kind of form it's going to be in and so forth and so on. And then, at some particular day, the judge of a superior court, upon receiving this certificate that we just talked about, the original, by the way, what's he going to do? He's going to enter an order in open court at chambers, appearing from the certificate of eligibility for admission to practice. Somebody saw blah, 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 get all done. That's what he does. And then you take your oath. This is where Doug Collins would go in, or actually Douglas Allen Collins. Go in that spot there. I, Douglas Allen Collins, swear I will truly and honestly, justly and uprightly conduct myself as a member of the learned profession in accordance with Georgia rules of professional conduct as attorney and counselor. Two different offices. Attorney represents you. A counselor gives you legal advice. So if you have a counselor sitting, or if you have a counselor and you don't show up, well, then you didn't show up. But if you have an attorney and you don't show up, well, they're representing you anyway, so they're just going to sign your name, but they're not going to give you legal advice. And so normally we have attorneys when we go to court. Isn't that funny how they do that? Anyways, as an attorney and counselor, and that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States, Constitution of God, taken in open court or in chambers, blah, 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 blah. Then it's the duty of the clerk of the Superior Court, whenever there is delivered to the clerk of the Superior Court an order for admission and the proper papers described in section 15, the clerk shall proceed as directed. So if you have a court case going on in Georgia right now, you want to go talk to the clerk of the Superior Court and say you want to see the order of admission for whoever any fucking attorney is that's in the court case that they have you in. And make them prove who they are. Because, sir, if you didn't do this, or you're using a different name when you go to court, or whatever all the different Esquire tricks are, well, then you're really part of the problem. You got to make them stop. Because they're the ones causing this problem with the ID card. Go figure. Esquires all over the place. Okay, but hang on now. Let's get on to that. So depending on what we're going to use as our reference, here we're going to use Title 38 of the United States Code. Right? But sometimes it's in a statute at large, then it gets put in the code. So we're talking about the statute at large. Sometimes they talk about the act that created the thing, which is probably what you know. But the act really isn't a law. It's not a law until the president signs it or you override his veto and it gets a public law number. Once it gets a public law number, it can be put into the statutes at large. And once it's in the statutes at large, it can be codified into the United States Code and da-da-da-da. So we're at the level here where we're talking about the United States Code. But I just want to point out before we go any further, what is Title 38 all about? Well, it says right there, veterans benefits. So the truth is that anything in Title 38 is a veteran's benefit, and it's entitled to me as a veteran. Not just the health care, not even just disability benefits, but this kind of stuff, and records and investigations. I'm entitled to these benefits. And one of them is a veteran's identification card, we're going to talk about specifically. But then investigations, like I could have a subpoena issue. Right? Veterans identification card. Then we have investigations, subpoenas, validity of affidavits, disobedience to subpoenas, information security. All these things are benefits. And we're not getting any of them. Get into that later. But specifically now we're talking about this veterans identification card, which is in 38 U.S.C. 5706. So let's cruise on down there to 38 U.S.C. 5707. Okay, and it's not a very long sentence. So it says that the Secretary of Veterans Affairs, well, that'd be you, sir, shall issue an identification card described in subsection B to each veteran who requests such a card. I'm asking for it. Presents a copy of a Department of Defense Form DD-214. Well, the VA gets a copy of your DD-214 when you are released from active duty. Anytime a DD-214 is created, there's 8 copies. 1 automatically goes to the VA, so there's no reason for you not to have a copy. But I'm happy to give you another copy. No problem. And 3, pays the fee under subsection C1. Well, you can't go any further. So you admit, those are the 3 things you have to do to get the card. Thank you. Let's continue. Identification card. Identification card described in the subsection is a card issued veteran that displays a photo. That would make sense. Displays the name. Yeah. Explains that such a card is not proof of entitlement to any benefits which veterans. Okay. Contains an identification number that is not Social Security number. That could be like your DOD ID number, just like it's on a military ID card. So this card should have on it Reluski, Robert A, DOD ID 12112800006. And that would be me. And it serves as proof such veteran served in the armed forces. Okay, now we need to stop because the armed forces is not the same as the uniformed services. There's more uniformed services than there are armed forces. Armed forces is part of the uniformed services, but it's not all the uniformed services. And this specifically says the armed forces. Back to you, sir. Cost of the card. The Secretary shall charge a fee to each veteran who receives an identification card issued under this section, including a replacement identification card. It shall, sir. You must do it. You must charge me a fee. That's what the law says. You were a Congress and you wrote the damn law. You probably weren't in. Maybe you were. Were you in 2015? That's when this was passed. Somebody did it in 2015, and nobody can get the card. The fee charged shall equal the amount Secretary determines, right? So the Secretary has to make the decision in determining the amount of the fee under the paragraph. The Secretary shall ensure total amount fee collected under equals the amount necessary to carry out this section. Well, so it's got to take care of itself. No problem. The Secretary shall review and reassess determination. Okay, it's fine. Every 5 years. So if it's not been changed since the law was written, it's still the same. Amounts collected shall be deposited. Department to carry out this section. Amounts deposited shall be merged. Amounts of such account. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Effective card on benefits. Identification card issued under this section shall not serve as proof of any benefits veteran may be entitled to under this title. A veteran who is insured issued identification card under this section shall not be entitled to any benefits under this title by reason of possession of the card. So the card has nothing to do with the benefits at all. It's identification. It has nothing to do with from the VA, I should say. Because I believe it ties us back into the military. You got some administrative measures, and this section should not be construed to affect identification card otherwise provided by the Secretary of Veterans Affairs enrolled in Veterans Health Care established. So, right, this isn't the VIC card. I think that's what it is, VHIC card. Require the production of books, papers. What happened? I got to go further down. Okay, then we get into with the notes, right? So what about this thing? Congress makes the following findings, right? This is part of the public law. Effective on the date before the date of enactment of this act, which ended up being July 20, 2015, veteran identification cards were issued to veterans who have either completed the statutory time of service requirement for retirement from the armed forces, who have received a medical-related discharge from the armed forces. That's who's supposed to get the card. All right, so it would be that kind of card. Well, who would get a card medically related discharge in the armed forces? Because if you're medically related discharge in the armed forces, you should be getting disability retirement for the armed forces. So there's the card, sir. Where is it? It says you have to do it. I have to pay you a fee. And and then this thing right here, on this day before, the Department of Veterans Affairs has infrastructure in place across the United States to produce photographic identification cards and accept small payments to cover the cost of these cards. Well, you do. You have it right now at every place you can get a VHIC card. Or you could do it online. You just have to charge a fee. I don't care how you do it. You need to charge a fee. 1 second again. So if we go a quick, okay, what does this website say about veteran ID cards? We'll find out that, according to Wikipedia, that the veteran identification card is an identification card issued by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs to former military personnel as part of the Veterans Identification Card Act of 2015. Well, it's just as part of. So it's not a complete anything, and technically, I'm still in the military, so I'm not a former member, brother. I'm still under the UCMJ. You just won't give me my card to prove it. But let's look at that card. I've got to find a copy one to look at. Hang on a second. Sorry about that. I thought I had turned this off, so there's a blank spot there. But here's the veteran VHIC card, and this isn't what they're talking about. It says the VA Health Enrollee, Service Connected, Medal of Honor, Purple Heart, former POW. But what they want you to believe is the card is this Choose VA card, right? Veterans Identification Card, Joe Veteran. This card serves proof service uniformed services of the United States. Well, it didn't say armed forces. But now I see they changed this. See, I've done videos on this information in the past, sir, and then things do change, and it looks like that's happened again. I have to find that one again in just a second, but let's continue on here. So let's look at this, guys. Right? This card serves proof uniformed services. Well, that's not what the law said. It said armed forces. James Clark. Well, that really isn't this man's name. I'm sure he's got like James Allen Clark or something like that. And then this could be the number they're talking about. It's a unique number, right? But it doesn't have all the elements it's supposed to because it doesn't say about the armed forces uniformed services. That isn't what the law said. And so now, apparently, they changed it to look like this. Well, this card serves as proof of service in the armed forces of the United States. Does not reflect entitlement. Any benefits administered by the Department of Veterans Affairs. That's all good, and it has some kind of number there. That's fine. It's Joe Veteran. Well, it better be Joe's full legal name, the name that was on his DD-214, because that's really the only name that the VA should have for me. They got a copy of my DD-214, and it identifies me on there. And it identifies us as last name, comma, first name, just like it did in the military. So that's the way it should continue. But the VA wants to send you stuff in your middle initial name or some other version other than the name that was on your DD-214. And having done this, I still haven't paid the fee. So this can't be proper. So anyways, all that being the case, I decided I'm going to fill out a lay witness statement and send it to a department service officer. Somebody down at the, my case, Battle Creek Medical Center. And, this is what I had to tell them. All right, in the matter of claim of veteran Rutluski Robert Allen for a congressionally mandated veteran ID, I provide the following testimony. I know the Veterans Identification Card Act 2015 requires veterans action in order to acquire the identification card the law created. The three actions required by law of a service of a veteran to receive the veteran's benefits are request such card, present a copy, and pay a fee. Right, we saw those, 1, 2, 3. I know that according to the Veterans Identification Card Act 2015, identification card to be issued is described under Section B in the following terms. All right, so anyways, this just came right off of the law. We put it on there. I know that my prior attempts to acquire this card from the Department of Veterans Affairs has been unsuccessful. Instead of offering me a Veterans Identification Card, Act 2015 identification card, federal employees working for the Department of Veterans Affairs disenfranchised me of this benefit even after my contacting the VA hotline on 8/29/2014, case number 126700057. Sir, it's still there. You could probably go look it up. I know that neither the online available Veteran ID card, VIC, nor the VHA, Veteran Identification Card, VHIC, are the identification card described in the Veterans Identification Card Act 2015, and to claim that either of them is the same is a felony crime by false statement in a federal matter triable by a U.S. District Court under 18 U.S.C. 1001 of the United States Criminal Code. I know that I here and now request for the Secretary of Veterans Affairs the identification card created under the Identification Card Act 2015. I attest that not only does the Department of Veterans Affairs have its copy of my DD-214 on file, but I also provided Andrew Ferguson, Department of Veterans Affairs officer, or Department Service officer, a Service 2 copy of my DD-214 official personnel file, along with this testimony. I agreed to pay the fee. So anyways, I sent that to them, and then I got... it took a little while, but I finally got some mail. And I got this letter, but it wasn't, addressed to Rutluski Robert Allen, the guy that filled out the form we just looked at. It's for Robert Rutluski. Well, that isn't me. Right? My first name is Robert Allen. You got to do it that way. You got to put Allen in there. You can't put a middle initial. You got to put Robert Allen. Well, of course they don't. They just make it Robert Rutluski. So that's not identifying me. And it was a little letter, a little blah, blah. I'm not going to get into it too much. But then they sent me this other one, too. So what happened is I contacted the guy at VA. And I hadn't heard anything, so I started bitching. And then I got this mail from DAV, who's the Department, Disabled Veterans, Disabled American Veterans, who are supposed to be the ones handling the paperwork, right? And I get this envelope, which I still have on my desk. I haven't opened it yet. But because it says to, then it gives this here, and it gives an address, and they mailed it to me. Well, this doesn't say to mail it to me. It says it's about me. It should have been mailed to the Department of Veterans Affairs. And so I bitched and complained about that, and it didn't get me anywhere. And then the election came up, and I had to stop for a bit. And I'm just now getting back to it and putting all the stuff back in my head where I was at the time. And so you can see that they didn't do it here either. They did not use the same name as is on the document that I sent to them. So they were contacted because I contacted the VA and they contacted the DAV. So any information they got like this would have come between the VA to the DAV. It has nothing to do with what I gave to the VA, sir. And just to make it official to show that I did, so I took that lay witness statement and I sent it by email. You got to sign the last page, and if you were going to do something like that, you want to put it, then you got to take a copy of the whole thing or scan it so you can put your ID on there, right? So you can have your ID show because they want to see a picture ID. But what I told them was, and this is Andrew Ferguson, whose title is Department Service Officer, right? He's got a va.gov email address, so he's not, he may have been provided by DAV or some other organization, but once he took the job, he became part of the VA. So he is a Department Service Officer. Department Service Officer Ferguson, I, Mr. Robert Allen, request an identification card, and okay, got that. Clearly written under C, cost of card. Secretary shall charge a fee to each veteran who receives identification card issued under this section, including a replacement identification card. Be advised that neither the online veteran ID card, the VIC, or the VHA card can be the identification card defined in this public law 11431 as neither VIC or VHIC require veteran pay a fee. I've attached my lay witness statement, the Service 2 copy my DD 214 from my official military personnel file, and a copy of Veterans Identification Card Act 2015, Public Law 11431, as required by law. Inform the Secretary of Veterans Affairs that I am requesting the veteran benefit of a Veterans Identification Card created and issued in full compliance with the Veterans Identification Card Act of 2015. And I await further instructions regarding my paying the fee and acquiring the benefit. Thank you for your service. So I don't have any problem with Andrew Ferguson as long as he's pushing the paper through the way he's supposed to. But all I can say is I've told him, I gave him the information, I still don't have the card. And this is going on months ago now. Let's see, when did I do this? Back in October. All right, so going on a month ago, just over a month ago. I haven't heard anything yet. So that's what's going on, sir. I really want the ID card. I want to pay the fee. And the card has to use my full name, my full legal name. It could be Rutluski, Robert Allen. I'm okay with that. But it can't use a middle initial. Right? And this card, by paying the fee and having this card, it's going to cause the VA to have to unscramble the errors and omissions it has in records already that keep this information from already being known, that as a veteran who's not been released from his enlistment, I need to have an ID card, or the United States is is in violation of the Geneva Conventions, which requires anybody who could be captured as a POW have an identification card. And the DOD Law of War Manual does the same, sir. And well, that sounds pretty simple. It's like, geez, man, just give them the damn card. So it's up to you, sir. Salute the flag and carry on. And I hope to hear from you soon. And maybe you can do it as a commander instead, right? You could. I mean, if you're a lieutenant commander, you could probably, I don't know, maybe you can order up a court martial, or at least what's the other one? A court of inquiry. Go find out how come veterans don't have this card, sir, just the way Congress intended us to have it. What's the hitch in the get along? Okay, very good. I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for listening, and let's see what else we can find to complain about, because we got a whole bunch of new people we can talk to. Okay, have a great day. See ya.